Good morning, everyone. We are live on empowerED Facebook and YouTube channel right now, and I just want to greet everyone happy Independence Day. So magandang araw po, magandang umaga sa lahat. Narito po tayo ngayon sa empowerED, YouTube at Facebook page para ipagdiwang ang mga guro sa ating bansa ngayong kaarawan ng ating kalayaan. Nais po naming sa lahat ng mga guro at mga Filipino sa buong mundo, nais po namin kayong batiin ng maligayang araw ng kalayaan. So right now we will be if you've noticed, I am also speaking in English because we have a special guest here. He's from Canada. You know him. He's our friend in the Global Teacher Prize family in the Philippines. He's Mark Reed, and while he is a Canadian, by citizenship and by blood, deep in his heart, he's very Filipino. He knows our traditions and even our own simple Filipino way of living, and even our mannerisms. So that kind of deep Filipino love in his life. So pardon me for speaking in English, so that we are able to include everyone, to accommodate everyone. At some point, we will be speaking in Filipino also, especially in the parts where I will be talking to my fellow Global Teacher Prize Finalists from the Philippines. So a few reminders to everyone right now. It's raining here in Manila. We are a lot of provinces in Luzon, in central Luzon, and even a little bit in southern Luzon are in typhoon signal number one. So we have a typhoon currently traversing the island of Luzon, and we pray for everyone's safety at this time of the typhoon. We continue to pray and keep everyone in our minds as we fight the coronavirus pandemic that we have in the country right now. A few reminders to everyone. We are very much open into communicating with our fellow teachers, to our viewers right now. So please send in your comments. We are doing like a simple show right now. We are managing it. We are the ones managing it also. So we apologize in advance if we cannot do answer some of your technical concerns. But we just want to make this a simple celebration for every Filipino teacher. And while we celebrate the Filipino teacher right now, we are working hard to prepare for the school year. Ang trabaho natin ngayon, mas kinakailangan ng ating presensya, ang ating kagalingan sa pagtuturo, sa larangan ng pagtuturo. So, kailangan nating ipagbunyi. Let us celebrate every Filipino teacher right now. Ngayon din, kailangan din nating hanapin ang pag-asa. Tulungan natin ang ating mga estudyante, ang ating komunidad, barangay man o ang ating syudad o ang bayan natin, kailangan nating tulungan ang isa't isa para hanapin ang pag-asa. So, there, send in your comments, use our hashtag that you can see at the bottom of your screen. We are very happy to have you here. We just want to spread positivity and hope at this time of the pandemic. We are working hard. We all know the issues that we have right now in our education system, whether we belong to the private or public school system. But in the end, we are just one education system. We are just one education community, and we need to learn from each other. So, right now, to help us learn more about what the Global Teacher Prize is, I'm going to bring in some people who are very much part of the community who's been representing the Philippines, our country, for the last 2 years. So I'm gonna bring in Dr. Venus Alboroto from Surigao, and Wendell from Caramoan in Bicol. So before we do that, can I just also recognize? I'm just gonna show them on screen right now. Um, we have our Global Teacher Prize finalists. So I'm bringing them on screen. So we have Dr. Venus there. Can you say hi, Dr. Venus?
Hello, everyone.
All right. Ayan. So, and then we have Windell.
Hello, good morning.
Okay, so Windell is here with us. And then um, Dr. Jesus Encelada, who's in Iloilo, is trying to connect with us. So we pray. They're also having a Dr. Jesus lives in a part in Iloilo, and he's been supporting indigenous people. So his location might have problems with the internet connection also, but we pray for them. We also have one more, Ryan Homan from Bicol, and we keep him in our prayer because he has been sick for a few days now. He wanted to join. He wanted to join us, but health first at this time of the pandemic. So that we are the ones representing the Global Teacher Prize community in the Philippines. I'm gonna bring in our one of the people who have been really mentoring us also in this community. Let's welcome Director Margarita or March Ballesteros, uh, ICO Director at the DepEd Central Office.
Hi
Director March,
everyone, happy Independence Day.
ayan. Director March is live in Ilocos Sur.
Yes, I'm from Ilocos Sur, or I call it Ilocos, Slovakia.
Yes. Hi to all fellow Ilocanos. I'm from Abra also, so we're very much our neighbor. And of course, our guest from the other side of the world. Hi, Mark.
Hello, maligayang araw ng kalayaan.
Yes. Okay, so Mark is in Canada right now. We will know more about him later, and we will try to discover how Filipino he is. So maybe Director Marge will help me also in discovering how Filipino he is later in our discussion. So yeah, so you've met everyone. Not all of us will be in the screen together. We will have two parts. The first part will be about discovering the works of the Filipino teachers in the Global Teacher Prize community, and they will be offering some ideas on how we could find hope and celebrate and find solution to the challenges that we have right now in the Philippines. And then on the next part, we have a very very special segment, and we will be interviewing, discussing with Director March Ballesteros and Mark Reed about the importance of collaboration, collaboration and the community at this time of the pandemic. All right. So, Mark and Director March, we're gonna remove you from screen right now as we proceed to our first part.
Okay.
We're gonna keep you there later. Okay.
Yeah.
Oops. All right. So there, welcome everyone. We're very much happy to be here with Wendell and Dr. Venus. So this is a very informal discussion. So you just put in your thoughts and share your thoughts as we discuss also. Let's start with our short introduction. Dr. Venus, maybe you can start our introduction right now.
Okay, once again, good morning, everyone. I am Venus Alboruto of Surigao City National High School. I am a master teacher teaching science for 17 years. I am one of the GTP finalists in 2019 po.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Venus. Dr. Venus, we will get back to you later as we discuss some of the important things that we want to try to talk about right now. Let's go. And I just want to take this opportunity also to welcome the newest member of the Global Teacher Prize community in the Philippines. Let's welcome Wendell. Wendell,
Hello, good morning, Sir Jim. Happy Independence Day sa ating inang bayan. So I am Teacher Windel Alvarez from Caramoan North District, an alternative learning system mobile teacher of SDO Camarines Sur Region 5, Bicol. So it is my mission and advocacy to give life to these people who are once deprived or unprivileged to be educated. So to bring back their dignity and have a good life. I am also an advocate of equal opportunity in education. So thank you.
All right. So we're trying in to add Jesus right now, Dr. Jesus. Dr. Jesus, can you hear us? All right. I don't think Dr. Jesus can hear us. He has been having a hard time connecting since yesterday when we had our technical work preparation. Okay, so let's proceed to our discussion right now. Just a few. Oh, I forgot to introduce myself. Hi everyone. So I am Jim Toscano. I've been with the community since 2017. I had the honor to become the first representative of the Philippines, and that's how I meet Director Marge, our very good secretary, Secretary Briones, who has been very supportive of all Global Teacher Prize finalists. Just to say, we just want to take this time also to thank the Department of Education, Secretary Briones, and Director March. They have been giving us the platform, helping us to, fight, not just to fight, but to really help celebrate the Filipino teacher by sharing the work that we're doing. When we share our work, we're also sharing the work of every Filipino teacher. And my expertise is on technology integration, and digital learning. But I teach in Xavier School San Juan. It's an all boys school in near Green Hills. And that's where I get to learn how digital learning could be very helpful in our education right now. But I just wanna also say how proud I am as a product of the public school system in the Philippines. I was born and raised in Abra, in Tayum Abra, and my teachers from the public school were the ones who really inspired me. So I just want to give a shout out to Sir Ronald Marquez and to the DepEd office in Abra, who have been really supporting me even until now. My mother, my sisters, my titas are all teachers in the division of Abra in Bangued. So there, pretty much that's how I became a teacher also. Dr. Venus is an expert in science education, and she has really won awards and awards here and abroad about on how we can further make science more engaging and have more impact in the learning outcomes of our students. So that's we have a representative from the science from the curriculum right now, and Wendell. I think Wendell needs to be highlighted also. He is part of the alternative learning system in the Philippines. We don't hear much about it, right? I don't know if that's only me, but we don't really hear much about the ALS, right? About the ALS in the country. And right now, our experience in the pandemic really brings us, to be in touch with what's happening in ALS, because they pretty much know what's happening, how to deliver education to students who might be not in the regular, classroom that we have. So let's listen to Wendell later. So there, good introduction from everyone. Let's start with the first question, and Wendell and Venus, you could answer this right now. What do you miss about teaching right now? Right? What do you miss about teaching at this time of the pandemic when schools were pretty much closed at the when we were almost at the end of the school year?
Okay. Well, since it's already June, if not for this pandemic, we should have been facing our students right now. And actually, what I miss is that daily interaction with them and that eureka, no? That eureka moments that I could see in their faces whenever they see or whenever they learn something new from our interaction. So that's what I miss the most, that eureka moment,
All right.
our daily
Wendell.
interactions.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Venus. I think that's what we really miss with our students right now. The interaction that we have with them. Wendell, in the ALS system, can you give us like a big picture of ALS and what you miss about teaching in the ALS?
So as an arts teacher, so nothing beats personal encounter. So talking and listening to students' ideas, thoughts, and feelings are more consoling. Learning is like instantly applied or measured when you see how they react or feel about you are teaching. So in our case, is, yan, hindi na bago yung yan, this kind of pandemic kasi we are in a modular approach in alternative learning system.
Wendell, baka maganda rin na bigyan mo kami ng background ng school na tinuturuan mo ngayon para mas ma-imagine ng mga audience natin yung trabaho mo right now.
So yan, as an alternative learning system mobile teacher, kami yung nag-cater ng mga out-of-school youth and adults na hindi nabigyan ng opportunity to finish their basic education. So nag-start yung journey ko in an islands because of our Bangkaranungan program. So the Yellow Boat Bangkaranungan program is our mission is to bring education at the doorstep of our learners. It is like a 10-meter long boat with power engine and with learning tools, storybooks, and other teaching aids. So to make learning conducive. So we have safety gears and life jackets. So our target areas, we have 18 coastal barangays and 7 teachers in the coastal and islands of Karamoan. So that's the start of our journey or story in one of my adopted community in Sichulipat.
All right. So thank you, Wendell. Kung narinig natin yung sinabi ni Wendell, parang hindi bago sa kanila yung problema, the issue that we are encountering right now. Kasi sila yung sa ALS system, hindi dire-diretso minsan yung klase nila. Yung mga students nila, sila yung hindi nakakaranas ng regular face-to-face sa classroom. And right now, ALS is doing modular teaching. You know, the competencies that they're teaching are the most essential ones. So, kung meron bang tayong nakikita na ganun sobrang focus, yun yung ALS. So, hats off. We want to congratulate Wendell, who's representing the ALS system. As right now, I just feel the need to say that we need to celebrate the ALS teachers. Kasi sila yung pumupunta. Sila yung pinupuntahan nila yung mga students nila. And they travel. Wendell travels by boat. I've seen other ALS teachers na nakamotor, aakyat sa bundok, or pupunta sa ibang lugar na hindi masyadong napupuntahan ng mga guro. And thank you so much. Dapat ipagdiwang natin yung mga katulad ni Wendell na sa ALS system ng ating education system. Dr. Venus, what have been the challenges that you have encountered at this time of the pandemic? You know, kagagaling natin noon, nung March, biglang naputol yung school year. Naghintay tayo ng April, baka may graduation. Pero parang hindi pa rin kaya. Kanya-kanyang graduation tayo online or kung paanong paraan. Ngayon at nagpre-prepare tayo, naghahanda tayo sa bagong school year. Dr. Venus, ano yung mga challenges na nakikita mo ngayon?
Okay, since we are in a public school, isa sa mga challenges po ay yung kawalan po ng mga gadgets, ng internet connection ng ating mga bata. So hindi po lingid sa ating kaalaman na iilan lang po sa mga estudyante sa public school ang pwedeng maka-access ng mga online platforms. So as educators, kailangan po nating gumawa ng paraan. So sa akin po, sa personal experience ko, ang akin pong parang forte ay yung paggawa po ng strategic intervention material. So, mas kailangan ko pa pong gumawa ng maraming module, ng maraming SIM, para po mas matugunan ang pangangailangan ng mga estudyante na hindi po ma-reach, no, ng ating online platforms kung sakaling mag-open po tayo talaga sa August. So, ito po yung halimbawa ng mga SIM na aking nagawa. Actually, marami po ito dahil nagsimula po akong nagsulat noong 2009. Kaya dinadagdagan ko na lang po, konting dagdag na lang at kumpleto na ang aking mga modules for the entire school year. So halimbawa po ito po yung ilan sa mga modules na aking ginawa. Ito po ay na-reproduce through DOST. Department of Science and Technology. At sa ngayon po, gumagawa pa po ako ng maraming modules para po sa mga students. So sa challenges po, isa din sa challenge dyan ay yung pag-reproduce po. Dahil sa public school, maraming students. Let us say, sa isang classroom, kung may 50 students in a class, kailangan mo siyang i-reproduce ng 50. So isa po sa mga problema ay yung financial po, no, na support. Kung paano po i-reproduce yung modules ng ganun karami. Kaya minsan, as teachers, kailangan po nating gumamit ng sarili nating pera. Plus, kailangan din nating gamitin talaga yung ating teacher's allowance o yung chalk allowance para ma-reproduce siya talaga ng marami para sa mga estudyante po.
Alright. Si Dr. Venus, malami na siya, yung expertise niya talaga is yung paggawa ng mga modules. Dr. Venus, baka gusto mo kaming bigyan ng background. Bakit yun yung ginagawa mo kahit wala pang pandemic noon? I remember hearing you telling your story why you had to make those modules. Ano ba yung dahilan?
Okay, kasi po sa aming school, large classes po yung meron kami. In one classroom, meron po kaming 50 to 60 students. And then as teachers, mahirap pong i-engage ang bawat student sa loob ng klase na may 50 students. So kaya, ang nangyayari po, hindi po mamamaster agad-agad ng mga bata yung lesson. Minsan din po sa 50 students, ang pumapasok 30 students lang. Nasaan yung 20? So kailangan nating i-cater yung uma-absent, kailangan natin i-cater yung hindi nakamaster ng competencies. Kaya po gumawa po ako ng module, SIM po siya, Strategic Intervention Materials, para po magamit ng mga estudyante, madala nila sa kanilang bahay, mapag-aralan nila, at saka makakope po sila sa lessons na na-miss nila kung sila po ay absent. So yun po yung kaya gumawa po ako ng maraming module para po doon sa problem na yon.
Right. At ngayon, nakikita natin kung gaano siya ka-helpful sa ating sitwasyon right now. Yung sa sitwasyon natin ngayon, umaasa tayo din sa self-paced learning. Yung capability, kapasidad ng mga estudyante natin na mag-self-paced learning. Yung module na ginawa ni Dr. Venus actually takes advantage of skills that we are developing in our students. Yung self-paced learning na pag hindi ako naintindihan sa school, kahit itanong ko sa teacher, pero alam kong kaya ko din aralin sa bahay, yung ginawa ni Dr. Venus, gumawa siya ng mga modules, mga printed. Nung una, si Dr. Venus ang nagpre-print kasi nag-experiment din siya. Hinahanap niya kung may epekto ba talaga, kung magiging mas mabuti ang pag-aaral nila o mas maayos ang resulta ng kanilang test. At inuuwi ng mga estudyante ni Dr. Venus. Parang ganun ang mangyayari ngayon. At hindi lang parang, ganito ang mangyayari ngayon. Kung titingnan natin, ang problema natin ngayon, ang dami nating narinig, online learning. Wala nga kaming internet. Ang pinapakita ni Dr. Venus sa atin ngayon, wala tayong internet connection, hindi ibig sabihin hindi tayo makapag-aral. 'Di ba? I think yun yung kailangan nating intindihin right now. Walang perfectong education system sa mundo. Ang education system ay hindi, the education system is not outside of us. We are part of the education system as teachers. And we recognize the problem. We're not saying na walang problema, pero ang sinasabi ngayon ni Dr. Venus sa atin is, may problema, ano yung magagawa natin? So salamat Dr. Venus sa pagpapakita. Isa pa nga Dr. Venus, pwede mong ipakita yung mga modules na pinapagawa mo. Yan. Ayan.
Actually, ang nag-reproduce po nito ay DOST-SEI na. Then it will be available nationwide by August po.
Okay. Dr. Venus, yung may pinopost ka na mga bagong gawa mo.
Opo.
Ayan. Ganon po kami ka-close. Alam namin ang ginagawa ko ng isa't isa. Ayan.
Opo.
Okay. And how do you do them? Dr. Venus, ano yung mga gamit mong mga tools? Baka kailangan marinig ng mga kapwa-guro natin.
Actually, laptop lang po naman. Ang ginagamit ko po ay Publisher para mas madaling i-edit. Hindi tumatakbo-takbo yung pictures. Tsaka yung nag-i-illustrate po ng aking concept actually ay anak ko po. So I partnered with my grade 6 na anak. Siya po yung gumagawa ng illustration dahil mas techy po yung mga bata, no? So yan po. Gumagawa po ako ng mga ganito, ginagamitan ng mga avatars, tsaka picture editing ng mga applications para po mas maging maganda yung kinalabasan ng mga modules.
Ayan, Dr. Venus, I think madami natutuwa sa sharing mo. Ang sabi ni Leonilo Capulso, so Dr. Venus in enthusiasm in empowering teachers, maximize SIM or strategic intervention materials. Tama po ba? And it was very, very insightful. Ayan. Salamat, Dr. Venus. Pumunta naman tayo kay Wendell. Wendell, sa ALS system, ano yung nagiging challenge natin ngayon sa ALS system, sa experience mo ngayon sa pandemic, at ano yung mga naiisip mong solusyon sa mga challenges na ito?
Okay, thank you, Sir Jim. So as an ALS teacher, kasi I was assigned in an island, so our first challenges is the mobility. So it is not easy to reach our learners kasi we are in an ACQ, GCQ. So kanya-kanyang community, meron tayong mga rules na minsan bawal pumasok. Yan yung isa sa mga challenge. Another one is extending material support to students and their families. Kasi medyo core is of the core of one of our community. So kasi yung community ko, ikwento ko sa inyo na wala silang kuryente, wala silang water system, and walang school. So isa yun sa mga far-flung or upland barangays in our town. And the third challenge is keeping open communication and addressing urgent concerns. So yan yung mga problema, and the financial constraints. So yan yung mga simpleng problema sa aming community na kung saan sa kanila isang malaking problema. So what I did to address these challenges is I let them feel that they are taken care in simple ways by helping them cope with the situation, by providing them means of baseball and other food facts, and motivating them to pray and keep the positive spirit to continue believing that this pandemic will pass the soonest.
All right. Very interesting kasi kung napapansin nyo, si Dr. Wendell, parang ganito yung sinabi niya. Na, sa isla kasi siya nagtuturo. 'Di ba? At sa isla, wala silang kuryente, wala silang water system. Right? So ang hirap paano mo ipupush yung pag-aaral kung ang basic needs nila ay wala. Pero tingnan niyo yung sinabi ni Dr. Wendell, ang sinabi niya ngayon is parang before sila mag-aral, kailangan nilang magkaroon ng access sa basic needs ngayon. Lalo na at may mga quarantine at lockdown at hindi nakakapasok, 'di ba? Mahirap makapasok ang mga yung access, mahirap. So Wendell has been telling us, and ito ay napapansin kong ngayon. Baka ito muna yung magandang pagtuunan natin ng pansin na ang hirap magturo sa mga kabataan sa komunidad na walang masyadong access, 'di ba? Sa basic needs. At si Wendell sinasabi niya na, ito muna yung kailangan nating gawin. So si Wendell ang ginagawa niya food packs, 'di ba? I'm pretty sure naghahanda si Wendell kung paano yung paraan niya ng pagtuturo. Sa ALS kasi meron na prepared na ang ALS. Pero ang mas pinagtutuunan ng pansin ngayon is ni Wendell is paano mabigyan sila ng access sa pagkain. 'Di ba? Sa tubig na maiinom nila. Wala silang kuryente, wala silang water system, at yun yung kailangan nating pagtuunan ng pansin. So maraming salamat, Wendell, kasi yun nga sa isang report na sinulat namin, at ito rin yung pinag-uusapan natin sa Global Teacher Prize community, must slow before bloom. 'Di ba? Yung basic needs na sinasabi ni Maslow, kailangan din nating pagtuunan ng pansin. Kasi parang ganito lang din sa school natin, 'di ba? ang hirap magturo sa mga bata na gutom. 'Di ba? Ang hirap magturo sa mga bata na walang access sa basic needs. At maraming salamat, Wendell, kasi yun yung nire-remind mo sa atin ngayon na habang nagpre-prepare tayo ng mga guro para sa pag-aaral ng mga bata, ano pa ang kailangan natin na mas unang gawin para magkaroon, 'di ba? Para makapasok ang itinuturo
Yes.
natin sa ating kabataan. Dr.
So,
Wendell, go.
Sir Jim, yan, yung sa mode of delivery, ano? So, kasi we are shifting on an online learning. So, but let's not forget our learners in our remote areas. Everyone is trying for internet connection in gadgets, while our learners in secluded barangays, they are dreamed only of supply of electricity. So while others need gadgets, they only need printed worksheets, papers, and film. So I hope to lessen or bridge the gap between the educational scenarios in our community na without sacrificing of both parts.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Venus and Wendell. I think very good approaches that we have right now. Dito makikita natin na may solusyon. Sa school namin ngayon, and alam ng mga tao na nandun yung expertise ko, digital learning. Kung kayang mag-technology, mag-online learning, take advantage, gamitin natin yon. Pero kailangan ng maraming training ng mga teachers. So yun yung ginagawa ko din sa school namin at sa mga school. So nagtitraining, kailangan ng training ng mga teachers kasi ibang pedagogical requirements ang kailangan. Hindi lang kailangan ng teachers ay matuto kung paano gumamit ng Zoom, kung paano gumamit ng Messenger, kung paano gumamit ng Microsoft or ano. Ang kailangan din nating ibigay sa mga teachers ngayon is paano magturo online gamit ang pedagogical approaches. Kasi si Dr. Venus, sigurado tayo, hindi yung pagsulat niya ng module, hindi kapareho sa pagsulat ng module sa parang yung pinapabasa mo sa classroom. Kasi iniisip ni Dr. Venus na babasahin ng bata na mag-isa ang module, so kailangan mas madali. Iba yung paraan. So nag-iiba yung pedagogical approaches sa modality na ginagamit natin. Right? So salamat Dr. Venus, salamat Wendell sa pag-share ng inyong paraan ng paano makatulong para may solusyon sa mga problema na nakikita natin sa ating komunidad ngayon. Huling katanungan, paano natin mahanap ang pag-asa ngayong panahon na ito? Dr. Venus?
Okay, pag-asa, nasan ka ba? Yung ganun, ano? So, well, I hope we have to continue to trust God po, no? That this too shall pass. So, we have to find hope through supporting each other. Kailangan po nating punan kung ano po yung weakness ng kasama natin. Kailangan po natin silang turuan. Kung kulang po ng mga skills on how to use online platforms, kailangan po natin silang i-support. I-maximize po natin ang paggamit ng ating mga strength para po tayo makatulong sa iba. Now, para naman po sa ating mga estudyante, para po maging source ng hope sa kanila, we have to show them na we are always present. Present kung kailangan nila ng guidance, present kung kailangan nila ng advice, lalo na ngayong nandito po tayo sa pandemic. So in other words, sabi nga ni Helen Keller, together we can do nothing or only do a little, but when we work hand in hand, we can do more. So kung magtutulungan po tayo, we can find hope po in each other. Yun po.
Okay, maraming salamat, Dr. Venus. Wendell?
So, hindi na bagay yung pag-asa sa amin kasi lahat ng mga bangka namin may nakalagay na bagong pag-asa. So, yun talaga ang tagline namin ng aming bangkarunungan. So, siguro by letting the students realize that every time they wake up is a blessing and that is to be sustained. So, yan siguro ang magandang pwede nating yung pag-asa na ibigay sa ating mga learners and to the whole community.
Alright. Ngayon ko lang naalala, Wendell, may kaibigan pala ako sa Yellow Boat of Hope, si Jay. Jay
Si
Haboneta.
yes.
Okay, so small world. Hi, Jay. Ayan. Hi sa amin ng Windel. So yun, how do we find hope? Sabi ni Dr. Venus, collaboration, punan ang pagkukulang ng isa't isa. I think maganda yon kasi right now, ang pagtutulungan ang kailangan. At di ba yung solution sa problema natin ngayon, hindi na sa isang tao lang. Hindi na sa isang tao lang. Maganda din isipin natin na ang solusyon hindi na sa mga leaders din natin. 'Di ba? Ang mga leaders tinutulungan na tayong mag-isip, kasama tayo sa pag-iisip, pero kailangan natin magtulungan. 'Di ba? 'Yun, baka 'yun yung kailangan nating isipin, ang diwa ng kalayaan, 'di ba? Para naman akma sa celebration natin. Ano ba yung diwa ng kalayaan ngayon? Siguro sa dahil may pandemic tayo, ang diwa ng kalayaan ngayon ay pagtutulungan, 'di ba? Kailangan nating magtulungan para maiahon ang ating komunidad, ang isa't isa. Whether sa pagsusuot ng mask, 'di ba? Yung tipong mga ganon, mga simpleng regulations ng ating barangay komunidad, sundin din natin. At sabi ni Windel, yung pag-asa hindi na bago eh. Kasi kung tayo ay nagtuturo sa ALS at nagtuturo sa mga komunidad na kailangan ng mas maraming tulong pa, ang pag-asa, araw-araw nating sinasabi yan sa mga bata. 'Di ba? Tayo mismo mga guro, I think yun yung kailangan nating intindihan. For me, yun yung finding hope. We become, faces of hope. Tayong nagiging mukha ng pag-asa sa mga bata ngayon. Ang mga batang yun, ang nakikita lang nila mga magulang nila. 'Di ba? Wala nang iba. 'Di ba? Nami-miss nila yung kalaro nila, yung classmate nila, nami-miss nila yung mga teachers nila. So tayo ang magbigay ng mukha ng pag-asa sa mga students natin ngayon. Kahit anong modality pa ang ginagamit natin, kailangan nandun yung pag-asa. At nire-remind tayo, pinapalaalahanan tayo ni Windel na ang pag-asa hindi dapat nawawala. Every morning is a blessing. Every time we wake up in the morning, it's a blessing. And we find hope in everything that we do. Alright? So, ayan, ang dami nating mga comments at Windel, yung mga comments natin, congratulations daw sa bigiging top 50 ngayon sa Global Teacher Prize 2020. At excited kami para sa iyo kung ano man ang magiging resulta ng pagiging part mo ng top 50 ngayon. Kay Dr. Venus, ang daming nagsasabing very yung approach mo, it's very concrete, it's very simple. And salamat daw dahil naibigay mo ito na-share mo, naibahagi mo sa mga audience natin ngayon. So, yun. Ito muna ang huling part ng part 1 natin. So, this ends our part 1 and we are very happy to have Dr. Venus and Windel. Next time makasama natin si Ryan and si Jesus. Ryan, if you follow Ryan Homan in Facebook, ang dami ding nagagawa ni Ryan. Siguro tayo na lang magkwento. Ayan, si Ryan ay literacy champion ng Bicol. At dahil doon, na-recognize na rin siya sa work niya. Home-based learning ang isa sa mga approaches niya at kapartner niya ang mga magulang, yung mga nanay teachers. 'Di ba? Teacher nanays na meron siya. Yung mga little teachers, napanood nyo na ang buhay ni Ryan sa MMK, nakita nyo na sa real time sa GMA ang buhay niya. So yun, si Ryan, home-based learning. Sana makasama din natin siya para turuan tayo ng mga approaches niya. Si Dr. Jesus naman ay nagtuturo sa mga indigenous people sa Iloilo. Maganda din sanang makuha yung perspektibo, di ba? Paano natin maipagpapatuloy ang pag-aaral ng mga kasama natin sa mga indigenous communities right now. Ang ganda sana ngayon, celebrating the independence, representing everyone. But sad to say, yun muna, hindi natin sila makakasama ngayon. But we are hoping to have them next time. So salamat Dr. Venus, salamat Windel. They will still be with us. They will just be in the background. And right now we are transitioning to our next segment, and I'm gonna bring up Mark Reed from Canada, our friend Mark Reed, and Director Marge Ballesteros. All right. So just a simple introduction, maybe. Mark.
My name's Mark Reed. I'm here joining you today from Vancouver, Canada, and I'm really excited to be sharing in this exchange with teachers across the Philippines. I had the great pleasure last summer of being in Bicol, especially being in Camsur, and I really appreciate this opportunity to be with all of you. I'm a music teacher. I work in education policy and in career education here in Canada.
Hi everyone, magandang umaga and happy 122nd Independence Day. Talaga bang malaya tayo? Malaya kayo? Ang Pilipinas ba ay malaya? So when it comes to independence, we don't only talk of our independence as a country, but we also talk about our teachers' independence. So to Mark, who is in Canada, happy Independence Day also, because I know for a fact that you are half Filipino and half Canadian, you say it.
Yes.
So Jim
Maligayang
is
araw
with
ng
us.
kalayaan.
Oh, that's correct. And thank you for pronouncing it very well.
All right. I think I just got disconnected. I'm back. I'm back. Yeah. All right. So there. Mark, how Filipino is Mark? Can you share to me some Filipino things that you've been doing? Mark is married to a Filipino family, right? So, Mark, how Filipino are you?
Well, I keep my Philippines hat right here beside me. My family is from Kalibo, Aklan, and it's exciting to know that we have a lot of family here in Canada, but there's also a big family there in Aklan, on the same island as Jesus, which is very exciting, and I feel like my own family that's there. It's been exciting to get connected to them and get to know them over the last several years, but it's also been very exciting to expand my education family with you, Jim, in Manila, and then with these GTP finalists from across the Philippines, and being able to be at some of your schools and be in those communities has been really special. And I will say that last summer, being in San Jose and seeing the Balsa Basa community, where Ryan Holman is from, was extremely special. I felt quite emotional being in that community. And it was also really special walking into the DepEd central office. When I went there to meet Marge, I walked in and I sort of looked around, and then the secretary came in right behind me. So I felt like it was a very special welcome in that moment, and it's great to be exchanging this time with you today.
Yeah, and can I just share a short anecdote? On my first year in Dubai with Mark, we went out. He was my mentor, so I didn't know. I was like, "Oh, who's this guy?" He's my mentor. He's from Canada. I don't think it doesn't make sense that a Canadian's gonna mentor me. I was thinking maybe another Asian, another another person from Southeast Asia could help me understand. And then when I met Mark, Mark was like, he messaged me on Messenger. So like, I was like, okay, you're the whitest Filipino that I've ever seen, and that was a good anecdote. And how Filipino he is. We went to Dubai Mall, and okay, he did a very Filipino thing. He made sutsut. You know that sutsut, like he did that in Dubai, and all Filipinos in that street, in that corridor, in the part of Dubai Mall, looked at us. That's how Filipino he is. He knows our mannerism and the things that we do. So there, we're very much happy to help Mark right now. He's been in the Philippines last year. What's that? Last year, Mark? Yeah,
Yep,
last
just last
year
summer.
went around. Okay, Director Marge, there's a shout out here, and I've been putting it here. It's from LV Chavez, watching here in her in Venezuela. Wow, congrats, Directora Margie Ballesteros.
I have a community in Venezuela and in Colombia, so don't be surprised.
Yes. Maybe Director March, can you tell us something about how your work right now, and how you are really guiding us as a Global Teacher Prize community in the Philippines also.
Well, if I, as far as I can recall, I met you guys in Dubai, and the first time we went with the secretary in Dubai was in 2018. And there, I didn't really recognize Jim being the first Filipino finalist, but it was Brother Armin, Secretary Brother Armin Luis Troden at the time, who told me about you. And I think that's your next slide, Mark. And from then on, I followed you on FB, what you've been doing, and then I saw to it that the next trip to Dubai, I got to see you. So the first time, if you remember, Mark, it was the first time I think we sat on that lounge and planned on how to move things. Well, the Department of Education Central Office has the smallest office, which is the International Cooperation Office. We call it a very small one physically, but it caters to the world. So we are like, people call us the small DFA within the department. So we do a number of coordination, a lot of coordination in different countries, and the that of the Varkey Foundation is one, aside from WISE in Qatar. So, well, guys, from the time I met you, it was like a rekindling of who I was 15 years ago, a classroom teacher, and now with the policymakers in the department. So I said, if there's one way for these guys to really get to make the GTP known all over the place, at least in the Philippines, would be to bring them all around. And I think the first trip ever, wherein we had a big number of people, a big number of dedicated and committed teachers, was in Region 5, the
Yeah.
place where Ryan Homan and now Wendell, right? So it was in Region 5, wherein we introduced you on the first day with our third level officials, our superintendents, and of course the principals and their officials from the division offices and the district level as well. Then the second day, you met like around 1,000 of teachers that filled that tent, where there was a big screen, a huge screen, where everyone was excited about to get to know who the GTP ambassadors were at that time. And now we have a product. So Wendell is one. So maybe in those places where we have penetrated at some point up to this time, maybe we can have more, because our teachers need to be recognized. And it's not only the recognition that they get, but it's also that the self fulfillment that, oh my, this is my vocation at the same time profession.
All right.
So let's keep
Think.
moving. The advocacy doesn't stop here.
Yes, yes, very much agree. Um, Mark, I think you have a shout out from RJ Roldan.
Yeah.
So he thanks you for having you here, and I think is he from Canada also?
Yeah, it's interesting because there's a number of Filipino teachers, of course, in lots of countries all around the world. And RJ is, if I recall correctly, a teacher in northern Manitoba, a very remote part of northern Manitoba. And just like you mentioned earlier, how Jesus has done so much work in his advocacy to support IP learners and the preservation of IP culture and language. RJ is working in a part of Canada that is especially focused on that. And even as Marge talked about the value of independence for teachers right now, there is a great sense of confidence and autonomy for teachers across Canada, thinking about how we're responding to what's going on in our world right now, and how we're thinking of the creative ways that we can support our students where they are, recognizing that sometimes in different parts of Canada, we may be at a great distance away from the next community. And so it's so important that teachers have this sense of confidence and a really high level of awareness of their own expertise to respond to what's going on in our own community. You know, the Philippines is 7,000 plus islands at high tide. And it's so important that that we recognize that on every single one of those islands, there's a slightly different situation, and how teachers in each place will bring together their own expertise or their shared expertise to help their students and help their communities is so important. And we can relate to that in Canada because of the size of our country and how far apart we are. I think we lost Jim just for a second, but he's coming back online there.
I think so. But now, Mark, how are you doing? I mean, in this time of pandemic, how are things with you?
It's good.
Jim, are you back?
I work in such a different kind of a job. The job that I do right now supports students that are in grade 12 who are interested in pursuing a technical or trades education. My job is sort of if DepEd and TESDA was to have a crossover and work together, the teacher that would help make that connection, that's the job that I have now. And so I have a whole lot of students that are, you know, even though it's almost the end of our school year in just 2 weeks, we have some students that are just about to start their skilled trades training. Some will start in the middle of July or in August, and others are going out to work. And I'm sure it's very similar in the Philippines, where there are some types of jobs or some industries that have gone on pause, but there are other industries that continue to work. They're continuing to work safely. They're very conscious of, you know, washing their hands at those work sites and keeping a safe distance. And, you know, construction and infrastructure development is often a part of how governments make sure that economies keep moving. And so we're making sure that our students can be ready for that. And it means that I feel like I'm working more than full time right now because of the demand of this particular type of program.
I can imagine. The work from home is far longer than the usual with the physical presence in our rooms in the offices, you know.
Absolutely. And what I find very interesting right now is that as we were reaching out to interview our students to get into these programs, they were at home, we're working from home, and everyone is feeling isolated. And yet, by way of making those phone calls and having those interviews, we felt like the students were able to feel, you know, connected to what they wanted to do, connected to their future. And I think one special moment that my colleague and I got to experience was when a student answered the phone and we would start asking them about why they want to pursue this program. Their thoughts were so clear. Their thoughts were very precise and thoughtful about, you know, how important it is for them to have an opportunity to be doing something that gives them a sense of routine and gives them a sense of purpose when the world is so uncertain. This was one stable opportunity in front of them.
Yeah. And connection these days, it doesn't only mean you get to see them, you get to see them on screen. Because here on my end, I am, as I said earlier, I'm in Ilocos, Slovakia. It's farther down north, and it's 300 plus kilometers from Metro Manila. I don't know how many of that in miles, Mark. But I could say that a number of teachers, they do home visit. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that they go near the student, but at least to check how the girl is or how the boy is, and they bring, some of those teachers I have seen in the area, they bring their old books with them and pass it on to the students, and I could say, wow, this is more challenging. Others have connectivity, well, the screen time is longer or maybe shorter these days, but again, to get to connect with our
Mhm.
students is really a challenge on our end, because we don't have the cell phone is not even enough, I would say. With the spirit of a teacher, I would say, if I am on their shoes, I would say, well, calling them maybe every morning, or
Mhm.
maybe on screen if they're available, I mean, on Zoom, or maybe even on Messenger, on maybe in other means, online platform. Then maybe we could do a morning exercise that we used to do in the classroom, or maybe a
Mhm.
prayer, or time to do some kind of reflection. But I have seen, I'm dealing with a group of like our Korea Philippine teacher exchange teachers, a group of them, like more than 200 of them. We do talk and we do meet. Like yesterday there was a cutie, I call it a cutie time with them. We had like coffee, but there was no coffee. While others have their mugs beside them, but I just had a glass of water. So it's really some kind of connecting these days. It would also require some kind of creativity on the part of the teachers, and at the same time the ingenuity of others as well.
Absolutely. And, I think about the stories that I've seen from some Filipino colleagues in the Philippines. Edgar in Mindanao going out to be at family homes and making connections with his students and in his community. Michelle in Bicol going out and doing the same thing, making those connections
Yeah,
in
yeah,
community, and even seeing Wendell, being outside of the home, dropping off information about how to stay safe in the context of the pandemic. I think
yes,
the
yes.
role of the teacher is absolutely incredible, and it's not something easily defined. I know that in the Philippines you have a very prestigious award, the Many Faces of the Teacher, and what I find so interesting is I wish there was one letter added. I wish it was the many facets of the teacher,
Oh
because
yeah, I was
one
thinking of
person,
that as well.
one teacher fulfills so many different roles to so many people. We at times we provide a sort of parenting role to a student. At other times we're a mentor. At other times we're a coach. At other times we're showing them information to let them go and be independent. But we have all of these roles and responsibilities that we fulfill. It's just so special, as part of what we do. The other day I was talking to a colleague about the idea of sometimes feeling a lack of confidence or feeling like an imposter. And the one important thing that I came to realize years ago is that I am the expert of my own experience. And if we think about right now, millions, billions of people living through a pandemic. We have issues around racism being confronted through the Black Lives Matter movement, especially out of the US, but also in many parts of the world. And we each have our own lived experience, and we bring that to our classroom and we bring that to our community. And I think that expertise of our own experience should never be overlooked. It's always something that can be so special. And as we are living through the pandemic, so are our students. And I give this one important message to every teacher anywhere in the world. Whatever you are doing right now is enough. Whatever effort you are making, whatever energy you are giving to your community, to your colleagues, to your students, it's enough. And if you can give more, that's great. But if you feel exhausted, if you feel drained, that is sometimes just the reality of being a teacher and having to give so much. And it's okay right now to manage ourselves and allow ourselves some time to be settled and to be centered so that we can keep doing that for our students wherever we are.
Yeah, true. Oh, Jim is back.
Welcome
Yeah.
back, Jim.
So I need your feedback. Can you guys hear me
We
well?
can, yeah.
Okay. So
Yes.
that's the main challenge right now. People were like, online. People are discussing about online learning and everything, and I, for one, advocates it. And I said, if you can do it, do it. But right now, even if we can do it, there are still some challenges, spontaneous disconnection of the internet. I am on my backup right now, and I'm just so happy to be back again. I've been following your discussion, and there's one question here that I want to bring out, Mark, and it's because it's a very special person. Maybe this is something that you could answer. What concerns do you have right now in your area, like in Canada right now? Like, I think are you back in school?
Yeah.
You had some school
Mhm.
closures, right?
Yeah.
Maybe give us a background of how you were able to deal with the problems that you had.
Sure. The timeline for the pandemic in our province is that on March the 13th, the Friday the 13th, that was our last day of school before spring break. And we were all brought together in a staff meeting and told, be prepared to be away for a while. Bring your materials home. Bring personal items home. Don't leave anything at school. And so then we had 2 weeks of spring break. Now, interestingly, in my work, the students that I support who are doing the skilled trades training, they're actually, some of them are still in school. So they didn't have spring break. So there were phone calls to check with them as the post-secondary training facilities were closing. And then when it was time to come back from spring break, for all of April and all of May, we were working from home. And that was the time I was spending interviewing students and being connected. And on June the 1st, we made, as a province, the bold move to go back to our classrooms. And we're on a part-time, reduced capacity approach where, for example, with high school students, it's approximately 50% of a class, 20% of the time. So if you can do the math on that, the attendance is very low. It's also optional. And as we go through the month of June, we're learning how the system can work, what challenges around cleaning and hygiene and teaching. Teaching children to stay apart from one another when for years we have all been conditioning kids to work together, to be teams. And now we're teaching them to do those things while staying 6 feet apart, staying 2 meters apart. It has been a challenging process to come back. And I find it interesting because I had so many colleagues here saying things like, oh, we're the only place in the world going back right now. And I said, actually, it's the beginning of June, which means the Philippines goes back to school. There are going to be those other parts of the world that are experiencing similar sorts of things in a different way. And having that opportunity to know that there was that international empathy in that moment, I think was kind of special. I don't know what will happen for us in September. And as there's talk about a second wave, and as there's talk about having to maintain physical and social distancing for many months to come, we have to rethink how we actually can manage education. Often we hear in the OECD research about class size as a factor in the research that's done in the PISA exam. And I think it's going to be very interesting to recognize that we don't just look at class size for those research purposes, but now we're also looking at it in terms of human behavior, how we actually can all be working together in a classroom with certain numbers as a maximum. So I think it's my perspective here is I'm very aware of what's going on locally, but I'm very thankful that through colleagues in the Philippines and friends like the two of you and like Wendell and Venus, I'm able to see what's going on in other parts of the world and to recognize where there's an opportunity to draw a connection. I wonder if we just lost Jim again. And Marge, maybe I should ask you a question. I've been seeing the reports come out from other ASEAN countries, and I know that you are very, very connected through CMEO, the Southeast Asian Ministers of Education organization. What kinds of international connection or teacher supports have you been seeing in the other ASEAN countries?
Oh, well, if I may share, just yesterday, Simeo had this webinar, part of their webinar series on early childhood care and parenting. If you have read already, the Simeo has got 26 centers now, and of different areas or different groups. So that of yesterday on early childhood care and parenting is actually, the center is based in Indonesia, but of course the secretariat is in Bangkok. And what do I do in the ICO? I kept reminding them that they should give us like at least the list of their webinars. And teachers here who are also watching us this morning, they know that I have been sending them the links and even the time difference at times. And because sometimes if the host is in Indonesia, we are ahead for, or in Bangkok, we are ahead for an hour, or if the other center in Vietnam, for example, but not much difference. There's no difference with Malaysia and Brunei and Singapore. And I think I have, that's one skill that I have learned during this pandemic, Mark and Jim, that I tried to do journaling with what international organization is into this, into the early childhood, what organization or which of the MOEs is doing a webinar on psychology or doing support for mental well-being of our teachers. And of course, I keep following Vikas. So shout out to Vikas Poda, who might be watching or still sleeping at this time. Hello, and thank you for the support. And of course to Mr. Barkey, I have made my promise to keep these guys intact and still trying to. So that's how it is, Mark. But in the Department of Education, we do have webinars also to support our teachers, parents, and even the children, the students.
I imagine that right now, one of the hardest jobs in the entire education system across the Philippines is probably that of the regional director, because they have the information and supports coming from the central office,
Yeah.
but they have a much better awareness of what's happening in that region. And I saw that Ma'am Loida, superintendent from Region 5, is also, I think, watching now. And I can imagine that the regional directors and superintendents must have a really big challenge in front of them as they're looking for ways to empower and support teachers where they are, while also trying to keep up with national initiatives. And that's got to be a challenging position in the structure for education in the Philippines.
Yeah, that's true, Mark. Actually, while we are talking here, I am in another meeting, which is Mancom, and the USEC in charge for the DepEd Commons, or the online platform now that all teachers and students are using, is actually discussing how things are, because it's enrollment season.
Mm-hmm.
And we're trying to coordinate with all the in charge offices in the whole Philippines, and keep on checking how many students have already enrolled. I think for today we have almost 7 million. So but again, we made it clear that DepEd will open in August 24, 2020, but no, if I may borrow the lines of the secretary, no face to face.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
We will not require physical presence. So that's why Jim and his team and all those who are into IT, into technology, are doubling their efforts to help reach out our teachers. You might have seen Jim, he is doing a lot together with his team. He is already everywhere, both in basic ed and in higher ed.
Yeah, and it's funny as you mentioned higher ed. I follow Dr. Bert Tuga at PNU, and the ways that PNU as a teacher education institution is having to very quickly think differently about how they will support their students in becoming teachers, but also having to rethink some of the curriculum for that program
Yeah,
to better
true.
prepare teachers to go out and actually live and work in a system that has just gone through probably the most radical, rapid, widespread change at the highest possible speed. And I applaud Dr. Tuga and PNU for thinking ahead about what they can be doing for their students as they go, those students go out to become teachers. This is the greatest exercise in education change that there has probably ever been anywhere in the world at any time. And no country is excluded. We're all going through this together wherever you are. And, you know, even if you're a teacher that's joining us here from, you know, the last mile community or the far-flung community, there are teachers just like you in communities just like yours in many other countries who are experiencing some similar things. If you can find those people and make a connection on how they're addressing the challenges in front of them and finding solutions, that can just be such an incredible value right now.
That's
All
why
right.
in our yesterday's kapihan or coffee sharing online via Zoom, I keep on saying it's okay to feel this way. It's okay to feel isolated, to feel alone, to feel helpless. But you know, don't lose hope because everything will pass.
It's
Like
true.
what Doc Venus has said earlier, these too shall pass. Like in Canada, for example, how many times have you experienced those snowstorm that was so bad,
Yes.
or even Jim, the you know a number of things happening, and all of these things will and shall pass.
Yep. And we learn from them.
Yes.
Yes. All right. So yes, I'm back. I'm very, I'm very much back and live. I've been following the discussion on my phone also, and thank you so much, Mark, for sharing some information about what's happening in Canada. I think right now what we need to see, and I like what Dr. Marge has shared to us is we need to see how other systems are doing it. Right at some point, when ideas ran out, you know, I've always learned this from my own community of educators. You know, it's to beg, borrow, or steal. Like in all education systems,
Yep.
teachers are very good in begging for this best practices, for borrowing, or for even stealing. You know, it's all
Yeah.
for stealing. It's for our sake. And you know, I think that phrase actually reminds us right now that if ideas of solutions run out, you know, you don't lose hope because there are other educators, other school communities, other countries who are doing it or who are experiencing and are doing well, quote and unquote. It's because we want to see the practices that they have.
Yeah.
So
And the other
yeah,
message that
Mark.
goes with that is adapt before you adopt. You know, what one person is doing in their school, in their community, um, it's easy for us to say, I'm from somewhere else, so I need a different solution. But sometimes someone else's solution is halfway towards the solution that's right for us and right for our students. And just taking those ideas and processing, reflecting, thinking of ways to adapt it, and then adopting that in your community. The idea of adapt and then adopt is so crucial, especially when it comes to technology issues and how we engage technology in our teaching.
Very true, Mark. Yeah, so learn from each other, collaboration, like what we've been mentioning a while ago. Collaboration is the key. Learning from each other. Um, if we could ask also our educators and school leaders right now, visit OECD or the CMAU website or the UNESCO website. There are a lot of documents right now, curated materials and resources that could already help us. Like what Mark has said, it's already maybe half of the solution that we can think of for our community. I remember I was in a podcast interview with our beloved Dr. Dina Ocampo, and she mentioned about, you know, like I think this is what Mark has been mentioning about the regional directors, like teachers, school leaders. You know, we know our own context, and so while we look for solutions that will adapt, you know, that will respond to our context, those solutions do not need to be exclusively from our own mind. You know, collaboration, beg, borrow, steal, you know, or barter. Right now in the country, barter system is coming back with all the resources that we have. but I think that's one way of seeing, like, finding hope right now, diba? Look, the the hope that you're looking for might be in another community, getting inspiration. And I'm just so thankful right now, Mark. It's been an honor and a pleasure, really, to have you always in our community, in the GTP community. We have a chat among the team, and sometimes it's called 5.5. Before it was 3.5. The half is Mark, uh, in that chat. But yeah, and we also want to thank Director March. I think this is one thing that we need to hear from other people. The problems in education systems will always be there, but what will really define us as educators, as part of this community, is, how are we going to respond to this? And we are very much tempted to always look for the easy, quick solutions, but history has really taught us that, the best solutions are those that are really well thought of, really well planned, and they don't come in just one snap. It
Mhm.
takes a lot of mind. Mark, you always mention about, you had a quotation that you were always saying when you were here.
A rising
The
tide
boat.
floats all boats. Yeah, and it's it's
Yes.
it's extra special now because of Wendell and the way
Yeah.
that the big yellow boat is so central to the story of education that he is created and is telling in his part of the Philippines. And what we all have to remember wherever we are, and especially right now, the role of every teacher is to be that rising tide, to be that source of uplifting hope in a community. But at the same time, I think it's so important that we as teachers look to our colleagues, and sometimes we provide that lift up for them, and other times they will lift us up. And like I say, a rising tide will float all boats. We'll bring all of our communities forward if we're supporting and collaborating with one another.
All right. And
True.
speaking of Wendell, I'm gonna bring back there everyone. I'm gonna bring back everyone now, and we are now on the last stretch of our live discussion right now, and we just want to entertain some questions. I see some questions right now. Um, no, it's all just comments and just congratulatory comments right now. Maybe we can open. Are there any questions that we have? There's I have a friend here, Jay Billones. Hi, and this addresses Wendell. How can I help you and your students? Wendell, I think now is the time. Someone's asking how they can help you and your students. This is Jay Billones. She's based in Taiwan.
Hello,
Come on,
good morning,
Wendell.
friends. So one of our problem in our mission and advocacy is the sustainability of the boat. When it comes to the machine, the gasoline. So because we don't have any MOA, so it is all about, it is from our own pocket. The expenses for the boat, for the maintenance.
All right. So if Jay, you're listening, I think one of the really, Wendell teaches in an island, and he needs to travel to go to that community. And I think one of the challenges that they have is the sustainability of the boat that they use. Right. So
Yes, we have 5 boats now. So we have 5 boats to sustain and to maintain.
okay, so they
That
don't
would
necessarily
mean
need a new boat, but to sustain them, to keep them up and
Yeah.
running. All right. So there, Jay, if you're listening, that's one way. That's one way of helping them. Also, I'm just scrolling through my feed right now for some questions.
if I may share, Jim, there's also
Sure.
one here for Dr. Venus. It's a message from my messenger here from a colleague in the department who is in charge of the partnerships. She said, "How can we reach to Dr. Venus? We want to help her so that teachers in the other islands of the Philippines could also get hold of her work."
Okay. We will be asking, ma'am, permission from the Department of Science and Technology as to the reproduction of this scimitar, because this will be available by August. And then with the modules that I made, actually I can share them, the copies of it, so that they can also use it in their islands. Yan po. So pwede po
Doc
siyang i-share.
Venus, so for these teachers who are here now, can that be available with an e-copy of those modules or materials be available? Will that be uploaded in our LDRMS of the department?
Before it could be uploaded, ma'am, it has to undergo QA, quality assurance po.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I have to ask po the LR
All
manager in
right.
our
Okay.
division.
So they said that's one thing they'll be looking forward to have.
All
Thank
right.
you.
So that's one thing that we could do. It's resources sharing,
Yes.
and we look forward to that, Dr. Venus. Yeah, I think a lot really here are about how good the discussion that we have, and they're also pointing out some very good things that they have gotten from our discussion. So thank you so much for those who are listening. Just maybe last round, maybe the final message from everyone in the panel that we have right now. Maybe we can start with Mark. And someone pointed out, Mark, maybe you can show it. You're wearing a Savior School shirt. Yeah. Mark also, when he was in the Philippines last year, Mark also came to our school. Mark and I have the shared passion for SDGs, which are at the background. Maybe you can show them, Director March, the Sustainable Development Goals. There, that's on the background of Miss March. Mark and I has a connection, as passion, shared passion on this. And Mark came to our school, and one of the things that I he was able to get is actually our Savior School shirt there. So Mark, maybe last round of messages.
Yeah, I'm going to repeat something I said earlier because I think it's one of the most important things that we can remind ourselves about as teachers, and that we are the expert of our own experience. And at this time, when there is a lot of pressure, there's a lot of expectations, there's a very fast pace to the learning that we have to do to support our students. Right now is a time to remember that whatever you are doing, it is enough. And it's okay to take a pause. It's okay to take a breath. And it is going to be better in the long run if we have that calm approach that's very focused on what we want to get done, but not expecting ourselves to do everything all at once. What you're doing right now is enough, and it will work.
All right. Thank you, Mark. Just a shout out also to our good friend Maggie. Mike, I don't know if you've read your messenger, but Maggie is with us. So yeah. And hi to Maggie McDonald. He is our she was the winner on our
In your
year
year, 2017.
2017.
Yeah.
And she has been very she's an inspiration. Maggie McDonald. She's been an inspiration to us also, especially I think this they have a shared similar story or situation with Wendell, flying to a very remote area and being a teacher, being an inspiration there. So there. Venus, your final message to our viewers.
Okay, actually I have three things to share, three important learnings. First, we have to stay relevant. So in any circumstances, any situations that we are in, we have to be that kind of teacher that our Filipino learners need. So yun po. Pangalawa po, we have to master our context. We have to look around us, and we have to master the condition of the community and the students. And then we have to work from there. Then the third one, necessity daw is the mother of invention. So it is now more than ever that we have to maximize our creative spirits to be able to offer solutions, no, to our Department of Education para po sa sulong edukalidad. So yun po ang aking maisi-share.
Wendell, thank you, Dr. Venus. Let's go to Wendell.
Okay, thank you, Sir Jim. Thank you for the opportunity. And I know that being a Global Teacher Prize Ambassador is a big responsibility. So we have a lot of protocols to follow and posting and others. And my message to our Filipino teachers that this pandemic actually strengthened unity, forged creativity, and adaptability in times of trial and suffering. These two leaves the lessons that really nothing is permanent except change. That by the blink of an eye, every teacher has to be swift in shifting from the usual practice to something more complicated and challenging. And that mental health and sound body have to go together, always in conquering fears, stress, and hardship brought about by adversity like this. So as one of an advocate of alternative learning systems, let us all Filipino not left behind. Mabuhay.
All right. And lastly, Director Marge.
Last message to Mark. Thank you for keeping the spirit and for keep pushing not only with with the Philippine team but also of course all the teachers here watching and listening to you guys. As teachers, I know how committed you are. I have seen how you work hard before without the pandemic when the pandemic is not yet here, but now this time I could see that you're working harder ever than before. Look at Jim, I don't know how many times he goes to sleep, and same thing with Venus with his screen time, how much time she spent on screen. And Wendell, watching him on, following him on his FB, how many steps he actually does every day just to reach out to students and parents. So if I have to look back and say, I always say, oops, the GTPs in the Philippines are complete. We have one GTP who is actually in the metro and lives and deals with parents and students who at some point lives perfect lives. And here we are, we have another one who is trudging her steps to really prepare materials for her students to get to know and get to understand better what life teaches them. And here comes the newcomer who actually is trudging the not only the mountainous part of Kamsur in Bicol, but of course the water and paddling the boat every day or every morning when the I don't know how many reflections, and I hope you have started writing them. And same with Ryan, who is very patient with the nanays or the mothers, teaching them to teach their children read, and also Jess, who now works with the Department of Education Division Office. So the message would be at this time of pandemic, make this an opportunity to be something and to be someone who you would like to be in the lives of your parents, teachers, peers, and much more to your students. So, on behalf of Secretary Liling, who is on Mancom right now, and I'm also watching at the same time, have listening to her from the phone, I would say thank you guys for making this happen. And the pandemic shouldn't stop us doing something good, because as Mark said, let the experience move each one, and let us be the message for each other so that hope is still a hope as brighter than the yellow boat or maybe even brighter than a star. Thank you guys.
All right. So thank you, everyone. We are now at the closing part, and I just want to express how I am proud of the Global Teacher Prize community that we have in the Philippines. I'm so proud of Mark Reed and Director March. We have been really working so hard right now collectively, all Filipino teachers, all teachers around the world. And, we just want to celebrate everyone right now. I think that's the most important thing that we need to do right now. We hear teachers, not complaining, but they're just airing out their concern. And these concerns are very valid. And we need to listen to our teachers. We need to understand where they are coming from, but we also need to make concrete actions. I think that's the idea of our independence right now. For me personally, that's my reflection. We celebrate our teachers at this time of the Independence Day, like how we celebrate everyone's independence. But we are in the pandemic, and we need to see things in a different way. And that's just one of the messages that I have right now. We celebrate the teachers that we have. The teachers are becoming the new frontliners, new members of the frontliners community that we have in the Philippines. In other parts of the countries, they have been the frontliners also. Mark has been one of them in Canada, and in our country, we're moving to the next school year. Um, Second thing that I just want to share is, we're very much in a very uncertain situation with a future that is so uncertain also. We are very scared right now. I think we need to recognize that we are very much confused of what's going to happen. But like what Mark and everyone has mentioned, Director March, collaboration. When we hold each other's hand, even if we are lost, we are lost together. So we're not just alone. We will find ourselves. We will find the solution to this, and solutions will not just be in the hand of one person. It's from everyone's participation and collaboration. So we celebrate every teacher. We find hope in every person that we meet in every situation. And lastly, we become faces of hope to our students, to the parents who are also finding themselves lost at this experience. We become light, like what Dr. March has mentioned, light and beacons of hope. And in special way, Director March, we also thank the Department of Education for always supporting us and giving us the platform to send our message. I know that Wendell represents, like what you've said, a very important sector of the education system. Dr. Venus, Dr. Jesus Ensalada, and Ryan, every one of us represents the Filipino teacher. And there are a lot of Filipino teachers out there who are doing well. Unsung heroes at this time of the pandemic. And we take this time to recognize you, we celebrate you, and we see what you are doing. Special shout out to our bigger global community. Mark, maybe you can also give a shout out to our bigger community out there, to our friends.
Yeah, just a thank you to, for those of you who are watching right now, please know that there are 300 Global Teacher Prize ambassadors around the world, and the fantastic people at the Varkey Foundation based out of London, especially Rebecca Warbrick and Kevin Loft. He's based in the Middle East, and the new CEO of the foundation, Nicole Louis. We really appreciate that foundation has brought all of us together and found a way to weave together the stories of these 300 teachers from around the world. So you may someday be one of those teachers added to our community, but you may also be a part of the community that we're reaching out to connect with and learn from. So on behalf of the Varkey Foundation family as a whole, thank you, Jim, for hosting this today as well.
All right. Thank you. Thank you to the Varkey Foundation. Thank you, Mark. Also, I think you're also representing the bigger global community, and that's what we're learning right now. Hand in hand, we work together in our community, but we also want to extend and reach out to the bigger global community. And there, I think we're good. We're done. Thank you, everyone, to our audience. We love you. We appreciate you taking your Saturday morning time with us, and thank you for the kind words that you have been sharing. I apologize for some of the technical issues, but I really think how Mark and Director March has carried on the conversation. I think that's one reality that we have right now. And thank you for being with us. So happy Independence Day. Mark, can you say it again in your own way of reading?
Maligayang araw ang kalayaan.
All right.
Is that close?
So happy.
Very good.
Yes. That's very good.
Oh.
So
Just before we
we can.
leave, just one message. I'm going to read it for you guys from the Ministry of Education in Peru. Thank you, empowerED, and thank you, Philippines. Thank you, GTP, for making this happen for our teachers. That's from
Walang
Peru.
Wow. Thank
Walang
you so
anuman.
much. Yeah.
Thank you, Jill.
Thank you so much. So, just for everyone, empowerED is an education advocacy that I have been running, and there are people behind the empowerED team, and I just want to thank them also for helping me put these things together. There, you cannot see them, but they've been helping me in a few technical issues that I've been doing right now. But yeah, this is the first empowerED live that we had, and I am very much honored to have done the live
Congratulations, Jill,
session
and to your team.
with everyone in the Global Prize community. I think this has been a very good live episode for empowerED. Please continue to subscribe to empowerED on Facebook and in YouTube. We have weekly discussions on education right now, and they are available on Facebook and YouTube. And right now, we just want to end it with a big thank you. We will say goodbye for now, and we'll see you on the next live episode of empowerED. So thank you, Mark. Stay safe in Canada. Thank you, Director Marge in
Good night, Mark.
Good night.
Czechoslovakia. It's a good night pala for Mark. And then Dr. Venus in Surigao and Wildell in Karamoan.
And to
All right,
Jess and Ryan as well.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you, everyone. We will be closing this, but we will remain for live for a few minutes to show you the link to the evaluation. You will be receiving a certificate of participation in our forum from empowerED team, and I will just be showing the link to the screen for a few minutes after this. So let's say our goodbye now. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you po.
Bye.
Salamat po.
Hi, good night, Mark. Have a good day, Dr. Venus and
Maraming
Wendell
salamat.
Likewise po.
and to Jim.